So last week, Sony had a state of play, and at this point, if you have not set your expectations through the floor, you're really gearing yourself up for disappointment. Now, don't get me wrong, this state of play wasn't necessarily bad, but part of it really speaks to two main points that I'm starting to gather from this generation, at least to the end point of Jim Ryan's leadership, which he only got replaced recently. But my first point being that this generation to this point really could be considered like a filler console, especially when you compare it to the PS4's library, which even to this day is still receiving new games dedicated to its 10-year-old hardware. And then two, that aggressive shift to live service games under Jim Ryan's leadership has come at the cost of what really built the PlayStation brand to this point. I'm gonna briefly go over what was shown, what I think, and then elaborate on how this kind of ties back to the points I just listed. Now, the PSVR 2 is getting more love with releases like SkyDance's Behemoth, which is a VR action adventure game featuring hand-to-hand combat, environmental puzzles, and boss battles. The other VR game that was revealed was Alien Rogue Incursion. It's an action horror VR game set to release this holiday. Now, me personally, I don't have a PSVR 2. I plan on holding off on that until the library for the VR 2 starts to expand a little bit more. But for right now, I mean, these are some good additions. Now on to some games that weren't VR 2 related, but were still shown at the state of play. Until Dawn is being released again, but this time it's rebuilt and enhanced for the PS5 and PC. This is a great branching narrative decision-based game from the team that made The Quarry. The much anticipated Silent Hill 2 remake also gets a release date. Infinity Nikki, an open world dress-up adventure game, was shown as well, alongside an announcement for a beta test later this year. We also got to see a little bit of Path of Exile 2, which is an action RPG featuring couch co-op, crossplay, and also has an early access later this year. And to wrap up this section here, this is something that I'm personally excited for, but Marvel Rivals revealed Venom and Warlock, which their designs are amazing. Really, all the character designs are amazing, but they also announced there's going to be a closed beta on the PS5 in July, which you already know I'm about to pull up. The gameplay looks nice, and they even included a skin that's going to be exclusive for PS5 owners because, you know, Sony. But I played the alpha, it was really fun, and I can't wait to see the improvements they made. Now, these are my top 5 most anticipated games based on what was shown at the state of play. At number 5, we got a game called Where Winds Meet. This is going to be an open world action adventure RPG set in ancient China. And I'm gonna be honest with you, the cutscenes and what little of what we saw that seemed like gameplay looked really impressive. Only drawbacks for me personally is that, one, it's only in development, and I'm generally not a fan of showing games that early on. And also, if you can't tell, this game is really influenced by Souls games, and Souls-like games and I have a bad history so far. Aside from Jedi Survivor, I actually had the most fun with that. At number 4, we got Dynasty Warriors Origins. This is going to be set in the Three Kingdoms era, and it's coming in 2025. And it looks like what you would expect from a Dynasty Warriors game, and you know what? That's enough for me. At number 3, we got Ballad of Antara. This is going to be a fantasy action RPG, also coming in 2025. The gameplay looks really nice, and does that say free to play? I mean, if it's for free, it's for me, so you know I'm gonna have to see what it's talking about. Number 2, we got Monster Hunter Wilds. This is set for a 2025 release. They showcase new monsters, mounted combat, and personally, I've never really played any of the Monster Hunter games, but this definitely caught my attention. So if you're into that series, just give me a recommendation on where to start, you know, what game is better than the other, and I'll try to go from there. And finally, at number 1, we got Astrobot. It's supposed to be launching later this year on September 6th. This game is doing a complete 180 with the game style. And instead of it being a free time killer that comes with the console, they're going all in with different boss battles, traversal items, PlayStation character cameos, and more. From the looks of it, the game looks fun and it really has the potential to be their version of Super Mario. And I think I speak for most people when I say I was not expecting to be looking forward to this game the way I am after this trailer drop. But here's hoping that Sony doesn't try to tax us for it. Now, even though this was the first game shown, I kind of waited to talk about Concord because this game really is going to be make or break for me. A few years back, Jim Ryan said that he wanted to have 10 live service games going before the end of March 2026. Since then, news headlines have been filled with things like The Last of Us Online being canceled, Twisted Metal game being canceled, PlayStation's London studio was closed, which conversely means that the live service game that they were working on ends up being canceled as well. And then there was the Spider-Verse game that got canceled. Jim Ryan having these companies focus on live service games so much instead of what they are really known for results in us missing out on things like a Last of Us 2 DLC where we get to play as Tommy after the events of the main game. Not to mention we're like 8 months going on 9 waiting on DLC for Spider-Man 2 when Spider-Man 1 came out, or Spider-Man 2018 rather. We only had to wait like 6 weeks for the first DLC to come out. So between that and remakes like Final Fantasy VII Remake, Demon's Souls, The Last of Us Part 1, Until Dawn technically, and even follow-ups to last gen games like Horizon Forbidden West and God of War Ragnarok being held back by needing to run on PS4, which again, 10-year-old hardware. And I mean, I get it, you know, half the user base is still on PS4. And in order to maximize profit, I mean, you got to offer it to both sides. But it also takes away from not only the value of the PS5, but the potential of these games being able to use the hardware for the PS5. Like, why would I go to PS5 when a lot of these games are still coming out for my system as well? Back to Concord, though, they are really jumping into a super saturated market by trying to be a hero shooter in this day and age. And even right now, after what I saw at the state of play, and don't get me wrong, you know, it's visually impressive, and obviously Sony invested a bunch of money into this, so they wanted to be successful. I'm just struggling to think of what will convince somebody to get this game. What will convince somebody to want to play this over Overwatch or over Marvel's Rivals, which, by the way, both of those are going to be free to play. I would say stick to the narrative, which they're trying to include a narrative allegedly, but even with that, Marvel's Rivals is going to have their own story going as well. And they have the benefit of established characters, pop culture characters. I'm just being honest. I don't know who's going for that. But even with all that being said, I know this is a game that nobody asked for, but I do want it to be successful. And yes, I am going to be trying out the beta. And while I don't recommend people pre-order games under any circumstance, yes, I'm going to go ahead and do so because it's going to come with beta access. So I do want to bite the bullet to see if essentially this game is going to stick. So be sure to drop by when the beta goes live. I have links to everything in the profile and description. And also let me know what your thoughts on the state of play were. Are you excited for any of these games as well? Let me know in the comments down below. I'll see y'all on the next one.